Hello and welcome to Cornish Walking Trails. Today we're going to take a look at the bench. It's kind of a British institution. We all sit on them, we all use them, we do different things on them. We like to tell stories and use them as props in our videos, really, don't we?
Also very convenient for picnics.
Yeah, and a pasty.
Oh, now you're talking, isn't it? But you put a post out, didn't you, on Facebook this week?
And Instagram.
And Instagram, yes. And you said to people, what's your favourite bench in Cornwall?
Yeah.
You had loads of replies, didn't you?
I was quite surprised. So it's kind of inspired us and led us to do kind of a compilation of all those brilliant bits in our videos of the last few years, maybe some that you haven't seen, some really old ones, of where we've come across benches that we like, have used, have told stories on.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, it's memories, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's those memories of being out and about in Cornwall, usually on the coast path. Beautiful views.
Yeah.
Yeah, so enjoy the compilation.
So we're going to start by looking at one at Quincas that we came across this year, and we find this quite frequently, that a bench has been put up to the memory of somebody, don't we?
Yeah, it's quite poignant, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so special when someone makes such a huge effort to basically lug a great bench up, concrete it into the ground, just because their loved one enjoyed a particular view. So let's run the clip from Quincas now. It's quite poignant. Beautiful bench. I didn't notice initially until Andrew pointed it out, but there's a shoal of fishes at this end, and then there's a seal dancing around at that end.
Pretty, isn't it? So it's dedicated to Daniel, 1981 to 2002.
So as well as being quite poignant, sometimes benches are just quirky. And take, for example, this one in Fowey.
It's a boaty bench.
Or is it a benchy boat?
Dilemma.
And this one on the way to Nairhead combined the dedication and the quirky.
A welcome bench.
It is.
This is an impressive bench, isn't it? Look how big
Oh,
these bits
wow.
of timber are, and it got like a little...
What is that?
Well, it's like a pulley wheel by the looks of it there. It's got a name on it. It's got Ed Slaney, 1976 to 2011.
Oh gosh,
Oh
he
gosh,
was
that's quite
young.
young, isn't it?
God, he had a shorter innings than us,
Yeah.
darling. That's sad,
It's
isn't
really
it?
sad, isn't it? It's a beautiful spot though, beautiful. You need to look at the view behind you, it's incredible.
Let's sit down. Geoffrey Foster replied to my Facebook post with a stunning photograph of a bench on the Fowey Hall walk, and we agree. Thank you, Geoffrey. Let's take a look now. So today we're doing what's called the Fowey Hall walk. We're going to cross the river twice. First time using the Poignant ferry. Today we've taken it from the National Trust website. So the first instruction says, from the Poignant slipway, walk up the steep lane past the old ferry inn.
Beautiful Poignant, opposite bustling Fowey.
This little blue cottage, the Blue Cottage, circa 1583. That's a long time ago. So this is somewhere we've never been before, isn't it, Poignant?
Yeah, we've always wanted to come up here, haven't we?
Yeah.
This walk, the Fowey Hall walk, is supposed to be one of the most beautiful walks in Cornwall, isn't it?
Well, I'm already enthralled by Poignant. I think it's beautiful.
I think the two ferries have sold it to be.
Yeah. There are so many benches with such glorious views along the stretch of path. It's hard to choose. Okay, so this is a war memorial, I believe. Oh, look at that view. Oh, that's rather splendid, isn't it? Wow, this is an absolute delight. looking down on Fowey. There's the church, and you can actually make out Place House beside it. You only ever get glimpses of the chimneys when you're in Fowey itself. And what a beautiful morning, it's like it's just waking up. So even on a rainy day, you can enjoy a view of Fowey by just taking a break in this lovely little National Trust shelter, isn't it?
Bus stop.
It's not buses.
Oh.
What's this one? Hall Walk is written of by Carew in his Survey of Cornwall, published in 1602, as a place of diversified pleasings. Oh, I like that. It was here that during the Civil War on the 17th of August 1644, King Charles narrowly escaped death when a shot killed a poor fisherman who was standing at a place where the king had stood but a short while before. Wow, that's old.
What a lovely place to be shot.
No, that's not the thought that went through my head. The thought that went through my head was, I wonder how many of those houses were actually here then.
Still a great place to be shot.
Yet again, we're sat here on a bench making a video, but this is quite a special bench, isn't it?
Yeah, this one is actually dedicated to somebody famous.
We're here at Maenporth, beautiful golden beach back there behind me, and in the water there's several surfers today, even though it's the end of October. But we're here primarily because there's a fantastic beach, bench even, that gives you a view right across the water. Are we going to take a pew then?
We are, there's a lovely little plaque on the side of it.
Oh,
This is where Winston Graham had his chalet.
Yes.
And where he wrote the novel De Melza.
Which is one in the series of Poldark, isn't it?
Beautiful sight for a chalet, isn't it?
Oh, imagine. Yeah, gosh. I think I'd be inspired to write, to paint, to snooze, to maybe have a little glass, a tipple.
Oh, sounds nice, doesn't it? What are we having?
Look at that view.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Another suggestion coming in from you guys was Porthgwarra, and we totally agree. Do you recognise this little cove? We're down at Porthgwarra. Porthgwarra is undoubtedly a beautiful cove. The birds are twittering around from the cliff top, you can hear them. Look at the gentle lap of the water, and the smell is so fresh. It's heavenly, it's very romantic. Beautiful place to be.
Beach is beautiful, and it seems to reflect the light as well. Everywhere you look, it's absolutely stunning. If you find yourself way down west in Cornwall, you definitely need to come here.
So why are we at Porthgwarra today? We intend to walk from here to Nanjizal. It's only a couple of miles along the coast path. And what's prompted our interest in this, when we visited, there was lots of dinosaur eggs, there was no sand, and we've seen photos where there's lots of golden sand down there. Bemusing.
It's not the relaxing beach to sit on, is it?
It's exhausting.
It's very pebbly, and they're big old pebbles, aren't they? Well, they're more than pebbles, they're more like boulders, aren't they? And the lady you were speaking to earlier, she said she came down here a few years ago and it was covered in sand.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's the sand gone, Sarah?
And we had a message from James Krell on our Nanjizal video saying that he had seen it with sand, and if we wanted an interesting history, to look up a name of an author called T.J. Blight from the 1800s. Well, this intrigued us, so we went and we found a copy of that book. Beautiful old book. I love old books. It's called A Week at the Land's End by Blight, published in 1876. He's got a beautiful illustration here, And we'll read it out to you once we get to Nanjizal.
Ooh,
Come on.
tantalising.
I have my camera, let's go. Just had a thought, we ought to look at what he says about Porthgwarra, didn't we? Let's take a seat a minute. This book is kind of a record of the time spent by John Thomas Blight he was called, and it's beautifully written, quite leaps around all over the place, talks about some fish, talks about some seaweed.
Found anything?
Very, very little. So it just says Porthgwarra, the higher port, a picturesque fishing cove. 2 channels are here cut through the rock to give access to the sand and seaweed on the beach. The rocks east of the archway look as if artificially built up and exhibit one of the finest veins of red granite. As at Maenporth, the slope to the beach is paved with large stones. On the summit of the ascent, which is very steep, is a windlass to draw up the boats. And here we have a little illustration. Isn't that exquisite? As you can see, this is a blend of some of our really old videos and not so old. Some of you will have watched them, but for those that haven't, I will put a playlist on the end. Maybe you want to watch them again. But where are we going now?
Hello.
What a view!
We're in Port Isaac. Come and look at this bench.
Just like that. Oh yes. Oh well, that's a very robust, substantial bench, but it's more about the view than the bench, I'm guessing.
It's about that. Look
It's
at that.
about that. So some benches are just appreciated because they have the most superb view, a perfect picnic spot that you can just sit, relax and enjoy.
What a lovely bench there. There's an inscription on it. It says Frank Gadman, 1941 to 2017. Loved to roam, but this was his home.
Oh,
That's sweet, isn't it?
it is, isn't it? Beautiful spot.
Do you want to know one of my favourite pastimes in Port Isaac?
Yeah, go on.
I like to sit up here and watch a pickup truck being washed out to sea.
Well, years ago, we know they used to park on the beach before New Road car park was extended and before main car park even existed. You used to park on the beach, and there was an attendant down there, wasn't there? So how things have changed. Eh? That was another impact of this filming, wasn't it? More people came, so there's more cars. So where do we put them all? We can't put them on the beach anymore because people actually did come back and their cars were underwater.
I wonder if a car park attendant at the time, if he didn't quite like the look of the tourists,
Park down there.
Park right down there. You'll have a lovely view. And then he didn't mention about the tide coming in.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm saying that is a grey pickup down there.
As a fisherman, he'd be right.
You reckon he'd be right? It's
Yeah.
almost to his tyre.
Yeah.
So I reckon in the name of research, we sit here for 10 minutes, Sarah,
Yeah.
and see if that tide does come into that pickup.
You've got to think about 10 minutes today, haven't you, darling?
Well, you know, the scientific research. I've learned something else today as well.
Oh, what's that?
Don't go fiddling with the zoom and then laugh. Makes for a terrible shot.
Sack him.
Yeah, I agree.
You're fired.
Thank you very much. Okay, so 10 minutes is up, Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
I've come to the conclusion that that pickup is owned by a local
Yes.
because they knew exactly when the high tide mark was, I reckon.
Yeah, of course they did.
Because they've survived, look.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Oh,
And we've got a doggy.
on the
Hello.
Zoom.
Terrible filming. Sack the cameraman.
Oh, dear. To Cadrith, where Andrew is in search of the perfect bench. Some ruckus going on down there, isn't there? Oh, has he just thrown them something? He's got something in his bucket, hasn't he? Look at them! What are you doing? You can't be tired already.
No, I'm checking out the benches for subscribers. I'm going to judge them on how comfortable they are and how good your view is.
Okay.
How windy it is. So this one isn't that comfortable.
Oh no, it's not, is it? It's kind of tipping you backwards.
Yeah, and
like this.
If I do this, I've got a great view. If I do this,
yeah, but if you sit at the angle that it's meant to be.
Yeah, and it is a bit windy. This one's going to be a 4 out of 10. This bench review.
Oh, what's the bench review?
Bench review.
I like it.
Okay, so that was bench number 1.
Yeah.
Bench number 2 is this one.
Alright. Looks more promising.
I like this one already. I like the lichen on it. It's raised up a little bit as well, if thought about it a bit more. Oh, it's a bit more comfortable as well.
Uh-huh.
I actually think you've got a better view here as well.
Okay, so
Still
this is...
a little bit windy. I think we've moved up now. This is a 7 out of 10.
This one looks a bit older.
It's not bad.
Not bad? View?
It would be pretty good, but I just need to trim off a bit of that bush. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
8 out of 10.
Oh, cool.
That middle bench, by the way, that bench is called Mark.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That was my benchmark. I'm always on the hunt for those secretive benches with a beautiful view. What about this one? The subscriber bench for Cornish walking trails pasty eaters in Polperro.
This is Polperro, a beautiful harbour on the south coast of Cornwall, near Loo. Let's take you to one of our favourite benches in the town. So obviously Polperro is in the V of the valley, and I think we've got quite a climb now up onto the cliff path.
It's up onto the cliff path and then onto Talon Bay.
Yeah.
Good morning. Morning. Top tip, if you want a fantastic spot to eat your pasty, the Loft House here.
Yes. Where are you going? You can't go in the garden.
Bench for yourself. And this is your view.
Oh wow.
One in the corner is reserved for the subscribers on Cornish walking trails, alright?
And for some really quirky benches, let's head down to Falmouth on the south coast of Cornwall, near Gillenvay's beach. Should we see if the shell grottos are open? We need to go up the steps.
Yeah, okay, let's go and have a look. Come with me and I shall lead the way.
I adore these little shell grottos. You can sit in here for hours, just study patterns. They're not original, they've been restored. So due to lots of damage over the years, some proper people, not any old so-and-so, some proper people came in and did a proper restoration.
So who would you call to do this then?
Shell seekers.
Okay, shell restorers.
I'm sure there's a pun there somewhere, I'm too hot to think of it. To Maenporth for a story about seaweed. We've got a good story about seaweed. Let's dig out the book. This book's an absolute gem. So it's focused specifically on the activities in and around the Helford during the Second World War. And one of the unusual things we found, it says here one very special commodity was collected on the rocks at Maenporth Beach in September 1943, when the tides were exceptionally low. This was the seaweed, and it gives the name, and I'll try and pronounce it, it's a gonorrhea, I don't know which form that is, from which the extract agar-agar is obtained, used in the culture of penicillin and originally imported from Japan. Bagfuls of it were collected for drying, and no doubt many wounded people benefited from this antibiotic, which has only just been discovered. You're taking away the seriousness of this. About 15 years earlier by Alexander Fleming. So here's a photograph of two people collecting seaweed. Yeah. So we are trying to make quite a serious point that this beach played an important part in the Second World War to help men heal after being wounded in battle. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I do too, and I suppose there would have been a shortage of, well, most things.
Japan was on the other side, wasn't it?
So it was Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So they had to find a way, an
alternative.
Gosh, that's really good, isn't it?
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Out there somewhere.
Look what you've done. Chaos.
If you've ever been to Cornwall, you know that hardly anywhere's flat. We've got lots of hills, and it is a beautiful feeling, a wonderful sight after a steep climb when you see a bench and it's empty. It's basically got your name on it. That was what happened to us when we went to Trevellas Porth. It's the most beautiful little cove near St Agnes. So we'll take you down to the cove and show you just how steep it is out of the cove towards St Agnes. Nice 5-minute interlude on Trevellas Porth. Pretty down there. Now we're going to pick up the southwest coast path towards St Agnes. So we're going to take the southwest coast path on that corner, on that bend. It is incredibly steep. I think that car's struggling to get up there now. Oh, yeah. You want me to laugh? Dearie me.
I'm glad you didn't bring a car down here.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. The evidence is here, all over the floor. If you've ever lost your sump or your exhaust, it's probably at the bottom of this hill, just outside of St Agnes. Look how steep that is.
This is about the only thing that we've got that's round.
It is empty.
It is. It's a bit naughty, and we will retrieve it afterwards, but we're going to roll it down the slope just to... It probably won't work actually because it's curved, but let's give it a go.
Is this an experiment, Sarah?
Yeah.
You're just trying to show people how steep this is?
It's tin!
It's tin, isn't it?
Tin!
It's tin. Here we go.
Are you ready?
Go on then. There it goes.
It went all the way round. It's still going.
It's the first here on Cornish walking trails.
Oh, the wind's stopping it.
Okay, that's less dramatic now.
Oh, how stupid are we? Oh, what?
How can you better that, Sarah?
I could crush it like a stamp.
You could.
I could.
Go on then.
There we go. We'll take it home for recycling.
I thought he was going to go into a little dance then. I thought he was going to do the can, but we need two of them, don't we?
I'm almost a bowel maiden, aren't I?
You are.
Yeah.
You got the looks for one.
Let's put this in all seriousness.
ready?
Ooh, yeah.
Are we gonna?
No, I've just looked up there.
Are we gonna get rolling?
Oh, very good. I haven't got anything. Nothing. Come on then, boy. You're going to drag Mummy up this hill.
Do you just lead then?
Yeah.
It's a flaw in your plan.
I know. This hill is incredibly steep. Steep-sided valley. I've said that before. And this is the track that the motorcycles and cars kind of end their rally on. I do remember watching that one year, and it is quite scary because as their wheels get traction on this surface, all the stones just fly backwards and you're literally stood here.
I'm sure if you search on YouTube you will find footage of these cars.
Yeah.
It's bound to be on there, isn't it?
Blue Hills Rally, I'm sure you'll find it. So Mark, the owner of the Blue Hills Tin Stream Centre down there, he was saying that they come down overnight and it's the end of the rally when they come up here and they're almost out on their feet.
And then they're confronted with this?
Yeah!
Oh my god, welcome to St Agnes.
Come on. Okay, oh now he's just showing off. Oh. Well, I shall take it slow and steady.
You know those heavy breathing calls you've been getting? It's me once I've been coming up here. Oh,
you're so competitive. Running up there, what are you like?
Stupid, that's what I'm like. Where's my pasty?
So this bench calls it the Cornwall ACU end-to-end trail. We need to look that up when we get home. What does ACU stand for?
Aged Cornish YouTubers.
Who are you talking about?
Don't know.
On the Roseland Peninsula between Calm Beach and Mare Head, you'll discover an abandoned cottage with a story worthy of a screenplay, told on one of our favourite benches. Oh my goodness. Oh! It's over there!
Yeah. So there's an abandoned building over there. It might be a bit too far away to make it out on camera.
Yeah.
Just up from the little inlet there.
So it's incredibly steep here, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's vertical cliff.
Just trying to be a bit careful with the dogs, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we'll put the cameras away and just concentrate on keeping these two and ourselves safe. We've got some treats.
I'm just going to show people the view. Look at that. That is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've read that this section of the coast path is strenuous. We've not done it before, and I think this up and down section would certainly make the grade for me. Quite chunky steps, and they go all the way down into the valley, and we're going to go over to that little ruined cottage. I can't wait to get over there. I'm so excited. Gosh, I don't like this. I know it's not coming out on camera, but this is quite steep, and I'm glad it's not slippery. Oh my goodness! Ooh, look at that! Oh wow! It looks like a lovely little cove, but I'm not quite sure if you can get down there. It's really slippery and muddy at the moment. It's probably easier to get down there in the summer. And the name, that Parado, gives you that sense of paradise, doesn't it? But I'm not going down there today, unfortunately. It's one for the future. I've just dug out the pamphlet that we had at Veracrus Castle, and there's a very good reason for that. We're in front of a cottage here. It was probably a 2-roomed cottage. The upstairs is a cob wall construction. It was probably thatched, and you probably got up to the upper floor with a ladder. So it's a very basic, humble dwelling. It was built by someone called Mallet, and he lived with his wife in Veracrus where they got married. However, he spent a lot of his time down here fishing from this cove. He would return to Veracrus and his wife at weekends with the catch. In 1840, or about that sort of time, he decided to emigrate to Australia, and he left his wife behind. I mean, they obviously didn't get on that well, did they? Anyway, it says in the pamphlet, about 120 years later, by an extraordinary coincidence, the trust farm tenant for the area, Mr. Neville Quinney, picked up 2 Australian hitchhikers east of Bristol. One of them was Tina Mallet, and she was the great-granddaughter of the fisherman Mallet, and she was returning to her Cornish roots here. How extraordinary! What are the chances? Oh. That would have been the fireplace, wouldn't it? It's tiny. So there would have been a downstairs and an upstairs. 2 rooms.
I wonder where they'd had the ladder then.
Here.
Yeah. So you can clearly make out where the cob would have been above, isn't it?
Yes, clear line.
I think the trust have done some sort of work here just to keep it sort of in check.
I was thought cob by its very nature washed away, but if you look at the corner you can see 2 different colours.
What is in cob then? It's more like a...
Isn't it kind of like a mixture of mud, manure and straw and compacted together? If you've got like a clay type soil, I thought, but
this must have been a traditional means of building a cottage like this back then.
Yeah.
Gosh. It's very well kept, isn't it? And this would have had a thatched roof.
I just get the feeling it's not 100% original. It's been helped. It's been beautifully done, don't get me wrong, but I question whether it's the original cob. Do you think that's a clue?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's new, isn't it? So
this is probably new, isn't it?
So they've stabilised it, is what they've done, isn't it?
They've done a beautiful job. It really gives you a good idea of what was here. Yeah. Oh, look at that in the sunshine.
Can you imagine living here, though? How extreme it would be.
What a view.
Let's just show you the view. A very low lintel, duck underneath. Look at that.
I don't know how I'd feel if I was his wife, being left behind in the village whilst he went off fishing and just came back at weekends and then disappeared to Australia. Perhaps it would just work for them. Perhaps the intention was that she was going to go out there and join him and something just went wrong. Anyway, lovely little setting. I bet that pumped out some heat. There's loads of trees up in the valley, so yeah, that would have kept him nice and warm and snug no matter what the weather in the cove.
I think I've sussed this out. So he went off to Australia.
Yes.
He must have remarried then, because if the relatives had come over from Australia 100 odd years later, or what was that? That would be 160, 70 years later, wouldn't it?
Oh my goodness me, they really didn't get on, did they?
No.
No. Unless he took a son or something with him.
Maybe. Mm.
The story! It could make a brilliant novel. To Mevagissey, and a bench with a fabulous story. So we've just moved around the harbour a bit to She Sells. It's kind of difficult to say. And there is a really old photograph of men sat on a bench here, and there's a wonderful story that tells you what was going on in that photograph.
So this is taken from this book.
Yes.
It's by Liz Hurley,
who actually owns the bookshop over the way.
Yes. This area was where all the local fishermen used to come and congregate, tell stories. Just find out what all the gossip was, really. But it says in here, so this is taken I think from an older book, it says, in front of our house, now She Sells, was a low bench seat where all the old retired fishermen sat to smoke and chat. reminiscing about their seafaring days and pointing out where the young ones were going wrong.
As you do.
It was known as Mevagissey Parliament. The seat was continuous and went right across a small doorway into my grandfather's workshop. One had to step over it to gain entry. My father bought a motorcycle and wanted to house it there, so my grandfather made a flap in the seat.
Oh, okay, so it would tilt up and down.
Yeah, unfortunately the old men and the Harbour Trust objected and took him to court. F.E. Hunkin was the clerk at the time. Judge Rawlins was obviously amused by the case, as he said that he wasn't sure how the Parliament was formed, whether by verbosity or force of arms. However, he ruled that whenever access was needed, Parliament must rise.
Oh, very good. Oh, I do like that.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Parliament must rise.
Off we go then. This beautiful cove is Goran Haven, near Mevagissey, and it is just perfect for sketching. I love that sketch. I think it's down near the mermaid, near the entrance to the beach, but I'd love to do that myself. So this is this lovely drawing sketch that somebody's done for the WI book, and I think it is here. I think I want to paint that now. I must get a nice photo. Are you going to sit here? Are you going to sit here? You're so good. Yes, you are.
How you getting on?
Quick sketch. But I think it's looking something like it.
Oh yeah, it's looking nice, isn't it?
Man-made wall with the coping stone on top. We've got the little cottage at the really cute little angle. A bit more detail maybe in those houses than we'd be there.
Love those cottages on the end.
I do too.
Really pretty, isn't it?
They're the cottages to have, I think, aren't they?
It's got a very interestingly shaped wall, which is there.
Yeah, it comes down at the back, doesn't it? So you've got like a higher step roof there, and then the roof line seems to come down there as well.
If I can line it up. That one over there.
That's cute.
Well, whilst you're doing that, I'm going to get some shots of the beach.
Perfect.
I'll check in on you in a minute.
No pressure then.
It's the harbour wall behind me. They reckon it's been rebuilt about 6 times in its history, and the harbour itself, it dates back to about the 13th century. Between about 1820 and 1880 there wasn't actually a harbour wall here because it had been washed away. And a lot of the properties here, especially along the beachfront here, were damaged. So in the 1880s the Williams family from Carhays, which is a little way down the coast, they put up the money to have the new harbour built to protect the fishermen.
Quick sketch with a bit more detail. I think it's nearly there. Not bad, quite pleased with that. As a preparatory sketch, understand the buildings a bit more now. Just got a challenge of finding Andrew so that we can carry on with our walk. This is Mullion Cove, where Andrew will be taking the camera.
Hello everybody on Patreon Extra. We're here at Mullion Cove today. There it is.
Yeah. Hello everybody, Andrew's going to take you around Mullion Cove whilst I do a bit of sketching.
I will be your tour guide. Come on.
Over to you, Andrew.
Come on then. Oh, there's some dogs. so I'm not as good as a vlogging as Sarah is, but let me try and give it a go anyway. Love the little wooden bench here. This bench is gorgeous, isn't it? Look at the timbers they've used in this. They've capped it off with some rope. And these are oars for arms. They're clever. What do you reckon, boy? Good view? Pretty good, isn't it? So that little cove down there is Cornwall Haven, is that right, Sarah?
Yeah, that's what it said on the post, wasn't it?
It's like got a little sea arch down there.
Cornwall is on the north coast of Cornwall between Boscastle and Tintagel. This footage comes from our walk through the Rocky Valley. One or two walkers on the southwest coast path this morning, enjoying this September morning. Cornwall Haven, isn't it?
Yeah. Car park said Cornwall Cove, wasn't it?
I think at high tide there's no beach there and it's on the flood, isn't it?
It's a glorious looking beach, isn't it? Look at that.
Beautiful, doggy having fun.
Yeah, see the doggy down there. Wow.
Unfortunately, through an IT disaster, our computer failed and our hard disk drive in the same week. We don't have this footage anymore. We only have this still of this fantastic bench, but it's still crystal clear in my memory. Let's just quickly return to Goran Haven, sit on a bench and tell you a fabulous story.
So we have made it back, Sarah, to Goran Haven Beach.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Tide's in there.
I know. What a difference. It was such a big beach and now so tiny. Back in Goran Haven, I've got one more story. So this isn't Bob's words, this is a quote from a Dr. Wetter who wrote a couple of volumes about Cornish life in general in 1885. And this is in an era when Goran Haven was in decline and people were actually having to walk maybe from here to Newquay or Falmouth for work in the fishing industry. So he says of poor Mrs. Quirky, she lived in a terrible way, and Henry John recalls seeing fleas coming out of her clothes at the neck and going back down again. I do kind of find that funny.
Poor Mrs. Kirkin.
Yeah, poor Mrs. Kirkin.
And her fleas.
Just returning to that social media post that I put out and looking at the answers, lots of you love St Ives, and who could do a compilation of benches without something about St Ives? I really enjoyed watching this fisherman sat on a bench near the harbour. So what is your favourite bench?
Showed you a few there, but obviously we can't film everything in Cornwall.
Well, I don't know, we've tried.
We do, don't we? So thank you for joining us today. If you've got any special memories of a special bench in Cornwall, leave it in the comments.
Yeah, we love getting your comments, so the more the merrier. So until next time, we'll say goodbye for now. Bye!
Bye!